EJH British Cars. This is part 17B, rear axle. But it's getting ready to start working on the axle shafts, and part of what I'm doing with the axle is changing it from steel wheels to wire wheels. So that requires a different stud, or you can actually just hacksaw the old studs off, but I don't like that. So anyways, I had a previous video showing how to get the hubs off the axle shafts. So I've got one here in the vise, and I'm going to show you how to get the swedged studs out of it. So this is the back of the hub, and as you can see, these are the back of the studs. You can see how they're peened over. So if you just try to pull these out, A, you may or may not get them out, but B, you'll muck up the holes doing that. So I actually started putting a little center with a punch on there, but I think these are so distorted it's hard to tell where they are. So I'm going to take the grinder and grind these flat a bit, trying not to get into the hub itself. So I'm going to do that, and then we'll get back to you. I've ground these off. I center pointed them. This is, I think they call them centering bits. It's really just for drilling a small hole, but with a really steady shaft so it doesn't wander off. So we use these like in the lathe when you're getting ready to turn out something. So you put this in, you get a nice very center hole in, and then you can drill it out and use a boring bar, etc. So I get carried away. So anyhow, what I want to do is drill these down a bit, and then we're going to use a bigger drill bit to remove some of the stud. And here I've changed to a drill that's just slightly smaller than the diameter of the bolts, and we'll drill in about 1/4 inch, and then a larger drill just to flare the hole at the end. Now I got this secured in the vise. Let's see if the Ingra pliers will move these now. Oh yeah, actually started pretty easy. Now, they're still tight, I'll grant you, but not nearly as hard as this would have been trying to do if we hadn't done anything. Now, the Ingra pliers are mucking up the threads on this because I'm just going to throw these away. You could use a couple of 7/16 inch nuts fitted against each other and take it out that way if you're trying to save these. I don't know why, they're readily available. So, but you know, back in the day, you couldn't get parts for these things. We've heard people putting these in and then welding them into the hubs. Now the hubs are unobtainium and these are cheap, so I would never do that now. But you can see nice clean hole. Nice clean hole, just a little tiny chamfer there. Not going to hurt anything. I'll go through and take the other 3 out. And the last thing to do is just take a 7/16 fine tap, run them down through the holes. Just make sure they're clean. This is going to make putting your new studs in that much easier. There's not generally much resistance, but a little bit. So, here's one. Rinse and repeat till you run out of holes. I'm getting ready to put the new studs in, so this is one of the replacement studs. They look like that. And I've put, this is off of a TR3 or a TR4, TR2, this the big lug nuts, anyhow, 7/8, a nice big base, gives you something good to hold on to. I like to use a bit of a thread locker, so this is orange, or you could use red. So there's instructions for that, and I admit that I'm more generous than what they say to be, but you know, that's me. So, there it is. Here's the hub. I'm going to thread it in. It should go relatively easily. Bring it down. I'm going to snug it up just a little bit. Don't need to go crazy. Then put it in the vise with that nut touching the solid piece of the vise. I usually do this with the nut facing the other way, but this is so you guys can see. So you need to peen it over. And then what I do is, this is just a center punch. I work the edges and really make that metal expand out. And the last thing I want is for a wheel to come off. So do that up, heat it down some more. I get the feeling that the original ones are maybe just a shred longer, because they seem to have more material to turn over. And that should do it. There it is, it's peened over. Take the nut back off of this side. And of course the Permatex will harden up with a bit of time. There's your finished product. So rinse and repeat till you run out of holes. So just a few extra notes. When I had all the studs off, I took that opportunity to clean this surface really well. Because this is the brake drum bolts against that. And if you get debris in here, the brake drum's going to wobble. And on the same manner, I noticed in a couple of these hubs, right on the edge, there's a flat spot. Don't know why. Somebody hit with a hammer or something. So you want to make sure you follow that smooth. And in the interest of, gee, these things are balanced, when I got that smooth, I took the grinding wheel and I just chamfered the edge all the way around, just lightly. So there's maybe 1/8 of an inch of flat at 45 of the edge. So, I mean, it's such a small amount of metal, I don't think it really matters, but, you know, belt and suspenders. Anyway, so there's all four in place. Here's the back all peened down. You also may want to, after you get them done, you can take a pair of pliers, grab that. If I had two hands to hold the hub too, but just make sure that they're not wiggling back and forth. I did find one that it had about 10 degrees of movement, so I just snugged it up again and did a little more peening on the back. So as you can see, I mean, you can see the ring from the oversized drill bit still, but these are really flattened out. The bottom of these seem to be concave a little bit, which helps them to spread out at the edges. And you know, I think it's really important that you support the bolt with this. This is longer than the stud. So when this is in place, you are not buggering up the threads on the end. And I put it in the vise, and you know, the jaws are on here, but the edge of the nut is sitting here where it's nice and firm. So this is, hope that was interesting for you. I think I will probably close this video out, and we will do a part C, which will be assembling all these bits. I did already press the new bearings onto the axle shafts, which was no big deal. I used my Harbor Freight clamshell thing there. I just slid it on, pushed them out, lowered the base of that lower section of the press, flipped it upside down because you're pressing from up here, and just pushed it on. They should go relatively easy in a press. I wouldn't want to try to just bang them on by hand with a hammer. And of course, I mean, this is the other side. I've been cleaning everything up and putting new races in the hubs. Here are the hubs. There's a race right there. What you do is, this is the axle seal. Push the axle seal out, and then it gives you good access to the back side of the race with a punch, or not a punch, a drift, and just knock it on out. Again, work your side back and forth. And put it back in, and I found a socket that was just a little bit smaller than that diameter. Because once it got down level, obviously you can't hammer it down that last 1/4 inch. But it's all pretty straightforward. I don't think I need the video of that. We've put some more races on just recently and stuff like that, so wouldn't want you to get bored. So thanks for watching this episode of UJH British Cars 17B. Watch out for 17C, which will be the axle assembly. Hopefully get that out by the end of the week, and we will see you then. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment, and we will see you later.